Today I'm going to talk about Pride in Osaka, which was held about a month ago, so early October of 2022. A lot of people are surprised when I say that Pride in Osaka is held in October, but it's because June is just really not feasible. It is the rainy season, or at least the beginning of it, and it just tends to be a really hard time to schedule anything outdoors. So, although some people who are really online might be aware of June as like a Pride Month thing, Pride Month is not really a thing here, but bigger cities do have small Pride events organized. So in Osaka, which is a large city, the metropolitan area is about 9 million people, just underneath. So it's quite a large area, but the Pride is still not that large. I checked my records. The last time I attended before just now, 2022, was in 2017. I didn't attend the last few years before the coronavirus started, just because of being busy or whatever. And then, of course, it was not held during the last few years due to corona. But upon arriving, I noticed a few things. It was much bigger than in past years, which had me feeling a little conflicted. Some things were much better. In past years, they didn't really have good food options, which meant that there was no real way to stay for more than like a few minutes because, what are you going to do? Is just like stand there all day? Like, there's got to be good food and drink options. And this year they did have very good food and drink options, which was great. I took a video of me walking around. We'll see that in a second. I have to apologize in advance. I am terrible at taking videos unless I'm just standing there, standing still. And even then, actually, I don't know because it's not something I like to do. So this video is horrific. You can just close your eyes. Honestly, it is so bad. I'm so sorry. But there were some really good food options, which was nice. There were more booths than there had been in the past. And now most of the sponsors and booths that you see there are kind of the same. They're like very corporate sponsor type things. But in Japan, they actually have some weight behind that because they'll actually back up what they're saying. For example, they're not just like, hey, gay people, buy things. They're like, hey, if you work for our company, we will allow you to have your same-sex partner on your insurance. Or we have, whatever. We have employee housing, which allows you to live with your same-sex partner or whatever. They're not just saying buy our products, gay people. They're trying to appeal like, hey, we're actually on your side. So it's not quite like the whole like it is in a lot of Western countries where it's just about trying to sell to gay people. And in fact, they're not really, almost nobody was actually like selling anything. They were just kind of promoting themselves as being not homophobic, I guess. There were a few people selling things. For example, there was like a tourism agency that were like, oh yeah, like gay specific tours, gay friendly tours, which I think is fine, honestly. At least they're providing a valuable service, right? They're not just saying consume these things that have a rainbow on it. And there were some smaller arts and crafts type vendors. What I would say, like, if you've been to a convention and there's like the artist alley, there were a few tables that were kind of that vibe, selling little stickers or little patches, things like that. What was interesting is that all of these people selling these artistic goods, none of them were about being gay. There was one table which was quite popular, and it only had goods for being bi, trans, or queer. There was nothing about being gay or lesbian. In fact, they had like trans flags all over it, and there was nothing about being gay or lesbian. A few other things I noticed that were different and kind of confusing to me. There was a lot more white people, and by white people I mean foreigners in general, but they are mostly white, the ones that I can point out at least, than in previous years, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because right now there are very, very few tourists in Japan, and this was before the borders had reopened essentially. So that means they're all residents here to some degree. Most of them are probably jets, short term. Well, technically long-term, but not that long-term. People who are teaching English or whatever, who live in the surrounding area and who come in for events like this. I was a little surprised to see the number of foreigners compared to the past. And a lot of trans stuff. A lot of trans stuff. The last time I came, there was like one booth that was LGBT deaf association, an association of deaf people or hard of hearing people who are also LGBT, and they had a little booth where they were teaching people sign language for the different sexualities and just whatever you wanted to learn, which I thought was really interesting. And actually sat with them for a while, and there was a homosexual, transsexual guy, and a gay guy, and I think a woman manning the booth then. So it was a very different vibe. There was a lot of like drag stuff too this year, which I had not seen in the previous years that I'd attended, so that was kind of weird. In positive news, this event actually used to be only one day, and this year it was 2 days, so that's, quite a lot more. It's quite an expansion, and they had some pretty famous entertainers. There was much better entertainment this year, a lot more just in general. There's just more, because in the last few years that I went, the entertainment was honestly, and I don't mean this to be cruel, it was like pretty bad. It was very like talent show, which is fine. It's like that probably was more suitable to the event at the time. Now it was like more professional entertainers and like dance groups, and there was a singer, God, I'll have to look up her name, but she's a pretty big name. She participated and sang some songs, and a lot of people were there for that. Like when she was on stage, the place was packed with people. So that was kind of cool, actually, that there was a lot of people there to see that. Besides that, honestly, I felt just kind of uncomfortable. It felt like people are talking less and less about the actual issue, which is we still don't have any sort of same-sex marriage recognition in Japan, and it seems like they just don't really want to talk about it. Like, oh, what a bummer that gay people won't stop talking about it. Let's just talk about how fun expression and gender is. There was also a group of pretty aggressive and scary looking men stomping around with Tokyo Trans Parade signs, which has never been a thing in the past, and a bunch of trans flags. Just felt pretty uncomfortable. And grown men dressed as little girls in like diapers and stuff, which I did not see in the past either. I only have a few pictures that I took in the past that I can show, and that is because they were pretty discouraging about taking pictures in the past, because these were events for gay people, and most gay people are not out of the closet at all. And although there were a lot of like corporate sponsors and families and people just trying to learn, even at the past events, it was still like, for example, during our parade, nobody was allowed to take photographs of people in the parade except for one section where you could. So it was kind of not really something you're supposed to take a lot of pictures at. I mean, I'm sure I could have done it if I'd been like asking people like, hey, is it okay if I take a picture of you where you can see the booth behind you, or is it okay if I take a picture of you and your friends? But I didn't really want to do that. Like, I felt pretty uncomfortable going around asking people, because it's not like I'm a media person or anything. And that in Japan in general, people are really sensitive about privacy, which I agree with in general. So I don't really have a lot of pictures. I have only a few of this one event towards the end of Pride where everybody had colored balloons and let them go while they played some nice music. They have stopped this practice because obviously releasing a bunch of balloons into the air where they're going to pop and make a mess is not ideal. But at the time, it was just kind of, nobody really thought of it that way, to be honest. Yeah, so this is basically it. I will add in comments, I guess, where I see necessary. So here you can see the balloon release happening. It was quite a nice event. Again, sorry for my terrible camera work. This is 2017, so a few years ago. Some people attach little messages of hope or like it gets better type of messages. It was quite nice, but you can see by the number of balloons, it's not a huge number of people, and you can also tell there weren't as many booths, especially like food booths in this picture. the marriage equality courts cases and the different regions that they're proceeding in, and when we can expect updates. This is actually a copy of a newspaper article that is about diversity. Unfortunately, it's mostly about gender nonsense, even though they did appropriate the silence equals death thing. Okay. This was just a little bonus fan, like use it to fan yourself with. Quickly was one of the sponsors. I'm not really sure what they do, but you can see some of the other sponsors here on the back. All right, and another Tsunagari Cafe. Tsunagari means like connection, sort of connecting to other people. I haven't really looked into this. I'll try looking into it. I think, no, I have to double check. And here is the sort of free, I guess I would say pamphlet, but it's not a pamphlet, but it's this sort of information for the event, Rainbow Festa 2022, Kansai Rainbow Parade. So like I said, it was 2 different days, Saturday and Sunday. This was free, and also entrance was free. Again, very drag-centric, but they also have, like, you know, family thing. Little, I don't even know what this is. Maybe a trans man, lesbian couple. Probably drag, gay couple, lesbian couple. I don't really know. A guy with a baby. Or maybe it's supposed to be a trans man. I don't know. But they explained about what the event is, which is just, you know, in support of sexual minorities. And then they're going to have this, a stage, booths. There's going to be a parade. Those are the main focuses of it. Cool. Then these are some of the main performers. There were more than this, but these were like the kind of the headliners. I think her name's Shimatani Hitomi-san. I have to double check if this is Shimatani. But these are some performers and their message. I didn't really know most of them. Oh yes, here you can see a more detailed menu of all of the different scheduled acts. So most of these people are not big names. They're mostly local. But you can see the final was this very famous singer. And this is for Sunday. I actually did not attend on Sunday, so I didn't get to see this, even though I would have liked to. Then they also have some legal support advertisements, which is kind of nice. And this is a day service, so it's for children, kind of like a daycare. So it's kind of nice for services like this because they're saying basically like, hey, you know, if you're a same-sex parent, we're gonna be cool. That's nice. This was a map of the booths. So here was the stage, and then it was kind of a big area you could walk around, and in the middle were some more booths. There's all this information for them, but I'm not going to go through it because I don't care. This was the Rainbow Parade schedule. The parade itself was scheduled for the Sunday from 1 p.m. I was not able to attend because I teach a lesson at that time. And then, yes, here is actually... Now this is interesting. I had not seen this before. They included a rainbow map. This is Doyama-cho, which is kind of the most common gay and lesbian area in the north side of Osaka. This was my main stomping ground once upon a time. I'm not really going to check if my main stomping grounds are on here because I don't want to run into anyone. But you can see these pink squares are lesbian bars. These blue ones are gay bars. Purple ones are mixed bars, which just means, you know, anyone can come in. Then there's shops, restaurants, and community centers. If you look at this chart, there are very few lesbian bars noted. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe, or 6 with juice. But I'll just tell you, the majority of lesbian bars would not maybe sponsor this just because they don't have the money or they don't want to appear to such a wide audience, because it's not really a good thing for lesbian bars in general. It's just going to invite trouble because you're going to have a bunch of men showing up. So yeah, there are way more than that. So don't worry about that. But yes, oh, you can see a few more who have done some ads down here. Niji, Deuce, these are both, oh, Remon. This is a different area, but I know that Remon is a mixed bar. It says it's a ladies bar, but they let men in. I know that because I have been there, and there have been plenty of men in there, so yeah, don't completely trust that. But yeah, oh, sorry, this is a different area map. Namba, Shinsaibashi area. This is the sort of downtown area of Osaka that also has some gay and lesbian bars. Not quite as many as the north, but it's also kind of a scene. That's cool though that they app this, because if you're someone who is newly out and you don't have any friends who are gay, you might be able to start at one of these places, you know. And a few more sponsors. Oh, so they have, this is a place where you can get HIV prep and everything like that. It's interesting. And this place just saying, we support Rainbow Festa. Yeah. And their equality policy. And the back sponsors. Ducks Osaka. Kind of interested in that. But anyway, yes, way more detail than necessary. Of course, you gotta have your old men in anime costumes. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up here for now. I don't really have anything super important to say in this video, to be honest. I just wanted to sort of give an overview of the event and what the vibe is, I guess. It's not terribly exciting, to be honest. I wish it were a little bit more focused on organizing and activism that actually mattered, but oh well. This is a picture that's unrelated. It's just a beach in Wakayama. I might use these pictures in a future video. But yeah, thanks for watching if you did. Leave comments for anything else you'd like to see, and I will see you guys next time with a scripted video that I'm working on. Thanks!